Hello. So this time we will look at another task from ICPC. Here we have a task to count bacteria. So for example, if we have uh, some types of bacteria, we want to reduce them to one bacteria. So if we have, for example, three bacteria of type 1, then we have one bacteria of type 2. What we can do? We can merge this 1 into 1 2, but this one is left alone, so we buy extra one and then merge them into 2. Then we repeat the process to 2 2. We might create 4, and this 2 is also left alone, so we buy another bacteria of type 2 and then we merge them into 4. Finally, we merge them into 8. So the question was, how many green bacteria appear in this list? So there are only 2 of them. So we can construct like that. We can do whatever we want. But what is the best way to solve this problem? Let's put it right here. The best way is first we need to check whether it's possible to create such a tree and to get the answer. So to get only one bacteria out of it. So what we do? We have a list of the numbers given in the input. We find minimum number. Then we divide each of the numbers by this minimum number. If it's not divisible, then answer is no. So we print -1. All of them must be divisible by minimum. Otherwise, we cannot construct this tree. So as we multiply each type by 2, after we divided everything by minimum, all types, all what we have, all quotients must be powers of 2. And we check it. How do we check it? We take logarithm of base 2 of that number. So it must be some integer m. We can check whether the number we got is integer. So we reduce it to the integer and check whether it is equal to the initial number. If it is, then yes, we got an integer. How do we check? So, for example, we have number x. We need to check whether this x is integer. We make it integer. So if we use C, C++, we write like that. If we use Python, we write like that. It doesn't matter. After that, we, for example, store this number as y. After that, we check if the absolute value of difference between x and y is less than some epsilon. So it must be like many zeros, 1. What is the epsilon? So it is the machine error. Sometimes if we compute integers numbers using floating numbers, they might not be exactly the integer number, but something close to it. So we check that. The difference is like less than some error that we accept. So we check that. If we don't get integers, we answer -1. So it's impossible to construct this tree. So all the numbers are powers of 2, integer powers of 2. So we get it. The minimum will correspond to 0. Other numbers will correspond to something. We also remember the maximum number we got here. We will use it later because we will need it. So what do we do next? So we store how many times each number occurred. So we have another array starting from 0 to, not to the maximum, but to the 2 times maximum. Because it can grow. We don't know the number, so at least 2 to the maximum. If it's not enough, we can expand it, but we can decide whether it's enough or not. So what do? We take each number. If it is even, then we just divide it by 2 and add the result to the next number. If it is odd, then we need to add 1 extra, then divide by 2 and add to the next number. So when we add +1, we remember that we added +1 into a new variable, let's say v. So we put v++ or v plus equal 1. It can be anything. So why do we do that? This is our answer. The v will be our answer. So once we reach maximum number here, so once we reach maximum number, what is not allowed? To add +1 to number 1. If it has 1 anywhere after that, or either at maximum or after that, if it has number 1, we do not add 1 and then divide by 2, because this is the end. This is the objective. This is one bacteria that we wanted to get. That's all. We finished. So once we get 1 on this way from maximum to the end, we finished. If we went by the end and we didn't finish, then we just repeat the process without array. We don't need an array after that because we have only 1 number. We also can have the array only to maximum to reduce it, and then just remember the number and have 1 loop moving around it. So you can disregard this. It's just security measures if you cannot write this checking thing with 1 loop and 1 number. So that's all. After you finished, after you got 1, it means you finished. Then you just print the number v. That's all.